What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action spawning in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Darkhands. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Thor. His name is Squash. We've got the map Anatolia here, and we are checking out some of the crisp, clean builds and strategies of Mr. Squash here on this auspicious of occasions. Squash, he is known for probably having the best macro out of any top player, is my guess on it. He knows exactly the right amount of villages to put on the right thing, and he finds his advantages through that in a big way. So we'll see exactly what he's going to be going for. There's two sorts of ideas here for Thor on Anatolia. Idea number one is to go for a 5-minute advance time, getting yourself 18 fishing ships and playing a defensive game plan on the water. But there's also more aggressive options where you also go on the land as well as on the water. Idea being to raid while you are getting pressure, while you are getting fishing ships out, and all the other good stuff that happens in those sorts of builds. So we'll see what Squash is going to be aiming for. It does look to me like he is going to move from one side of the map to the other side of the map, get the extra dock down. One thing you can do with this is get your house up over here and then wander over here. Now, there is a significant weakness to this in that if your opponent goes to the top side first, and literally just puts a dock exactly where Darkhands has put here, you do not know about this, and you might even get tricked into putting a dock down onto this spot, which is what Squash is doing here, and it looks like Squash may get the information he needs to see there is a dock very far forward here, but his Ulfsark is on the wrong side of the map. Now, the correct response to this is to put your second dock down here on this spot and just take all of these fishing spots here. It's difficult to do this if you do not know, but the simplicity of it, it's beautiful. You send the Ulfsark back this way, preparing to move up to this side, and with one of these early fishing ships, you just send that fishing ship forward, right, down to here, and if you do not see a dock on this spot, you just move down and you take this entire fish for yourself. It's easy to say, but if you don't know to do this, you're going to get tricked a little bit. So that's the secret to dealing with this kind of cheese that Darkhands is going for. But Squash, he's going to be getting put into a spot where he might be able to get these fishing spots, but I mean, even if he gets them, they're still kind of not in the best spot for him at this point, but he will be able to take his 6 spots at the top and get himself 12 spots at the bottom. It's not terrible. It's not great. It is what it is. Darkhands, on the other hand, here is getting himself his own dock up. Arguably, this feels a little bit late to me. I feel like he should have already been over here with this dock. You get 7 villages. I mean, he's got 9 villages on wood at the moment. Maybe it's on time. I'm not 100% sure. But he has got what he wanted out of this early game, which is taking away this location from Squash, and we'll see how he's going to go after this. As the temple is coming up, and Squash will be getting himself that 5-minute advance time here through Freya. Very, very stock standard for Thor, basically, in these sorts of situations. So we'll see how things are going to go as Darkhands is getting up his temple over here. He's getting out all his fishing ships on the bottom of the map. He's getting his extra docks out. And this is normally going to be a challenge here for the Thor player. Normally, if you ask any Norse player, they're going to say Zeus has got the upper hand here. I do believe that Norse does have some advantages to play into in this map. But Thor doesn't really have that Njord for the Kraken. He does have Fimbulwinter, but I would argue that Ragnarok a lot of the times on Anatolia is actually your better bet to basically win the game with a gold staff because all the gold is in the center of the map. So keep those things in the back of your mind as Darkhands, very, very late advance time. Not sure what's going on here. He's going through Hermes as well. This late of an advance time puts him behind in a big way. You can get a 5:15 advance time here with Zeus most of the time. And one thing to take a note here on what Squash is doing in this game is that basically Squash is getting himself out this ox cart after, and he had 14 villagers on wood. He didn't move these dwarves over to gold until much, much later, as we are now starting to see the longboats coming out, and Darkhands is under some pressure right now as he has to garrison those fishing ships. So it's advantage Squash at the moment. As we do see the bolt onto the Valkyrie. Forest Fire was dropped down. No villagers have been taken out, but the villagers just going to make their way over onto this other wood line here. And Squash has put in a lot of hard pressure super early here, as well as the longboats are moving down to the bottom side of the map, but the docks are already up. Darkhands has got a lot of docks up at the moment as well. And one big advantage or disadvantage for Norse is that these longboats only have 5.5 speed, which means the docks do fire back onto them and hit them as they're passing. The docks have got, for some reason, 5.5 track rating, just to punch the Norse player in the gut, so to speak. So we'll see how things are going to go here. As more houses are coming up, the Centaur are starting to move forward here. Ursa trying to take down this dock for the time being, but Darkhands has got to get himself out some boats here. And the question is going to be, how hard does he go on this? Does he get himself Persine? I don't think he's got it just yet. Neither has Squash. So Squash goes for this a little bit differently. Generally, I prefer the idea of getting yourself the Persine because it's going to be able to boost your fishing economy more so than a couple of idle fishing ships. But it looks like Squash just wants to apply the pressure first and foremost and attempt to win on these sorts of positions. Do we see any sort of armories coming up? No. Houses coming down on the back over there. Outside of his main base, this is an interesting idea from Squash. He's not playing against Hades or Poseidon who have access to Earthquake, but this does play around that. It's a really, really good idea when playing against Greek to be putting your houses off into a corner away from where an Earthquake is going to happen, so you don't get hit with that brutal minus 100 population or something from an Earthquake. As the ceasefire does come down. And Darkhands is going to be attempting, I assume, to go to the next stage here. Armory coming up. This is a pretty late heroic age. I think Darkhands is probably struggling a little bit for... Actually, he's put a lot more villagers onto wood. That's why his gold's a little low here. In an attempt to get out all of his archer ships to defend himself here. So we'll see how things are going to go. That's the Centaur of Darkhands in position to put some pressure onto Squash. Squash has got his eye on this already. He's grabbing himself this relic. What is he getting here? Does get the Thundercloud Shawl. Big help there. The Hearse are going to come over and probably take this one out. Actually, it looks like Squash hasn't noticed it. He's still just trying to put pressure over here. So this could do a lot of damage because all of the pressure happens at once this ceasefire finishes up here. The other alternative here is that Squash can just click over here. No, he has spotted this. He's sending Gary Deathface up here to clean up this Centaur just in the nick of time. Look at that. He comes in, going to clean that one up here very, very quickly. Squash, on the other hand, still no armory up, but he's got a lot of these longboats here as he's pushing forward. There are 2 docks firing arrows to help support here. So we'll see if, or now 1 dock, but we'll see if Darkhands can hold on this position as the Centaur does get taken down. The Jason goes down as well. And it does look like Squash is able to win on this top position. This is a big advantage here for Squash moving forward here. If the Norse wins one side of the water and doesn't lose the other side, this gives the Norse player so much advantage in this map. It's very, very rare to see this happen, but Squash is just, economically speaking, he has spent his resources beautifully. He is floating a lot of wood at the moment, so definitely getting himself out those longhouses as soon as he can is going to be a big help. Darkhands, is he still producing triremes? He is producing triremes down the bottom here, but is he going through Dionysus? And I'm not sure he's going to actually be able to get that Dionysus out fast enough. In fact, losing these docks at the top does mean that this dock is now his first dock, which means those Skylar are going to be coming out of this one here. As the Archery Range Military Academy going to be coming through, dock going to be getting taken out on this position as well. And Squash here, I imagine he starts building fishing ships, right? He's getting the fishing ships out. He's producing some units here. Why is he building units? He's not going to the next age. He's not getting a second town center. He's popping down those longhouses. So he wants to stay in that second age for a little bit longer here as the trireme's coming through. It looks like Squash is actually getting a little bit distracted here. And I think this is advantage Darkhands. Generally speaking, when you win one side of the water, just let your opponent invest all of these longboats or archer ships into the water and get yourself your town centers. Just because you have to deal with those Skylar coming through, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And you've also got all this population investment on the top here. So we do see the town center coming up. And yeah, Squash still not quite getting there in terms of the heroic age, but he's going to have the town centers coming through very, very shortly. I'd love to see this town center going up as well. There is a Hersa already over here to drop this one if he needs to. And he can start getting that boom going as well, as all those fishing ships can come out very, very quickly as well. But Squash at this moment, he's not overreacting to this. Looks like he's got, yeah, he's not even building any longboats out. He's got one. So this isn't an overcommitment from Darkhands either. So good job on this. As the villagers getting harassed over here. One hoplite is out as a Hydra gets produced here by Darkhands. That's absolutely wild. Generally, you don't see more than one Hydra coming out, but we'll see how things are going to go as the Hydra pushes forward. There's a lot of Hersa already out here, so this Hydra is going to go down very, very quickly. Darkhands realizes this. He's going to be retreating back for the time being here. Darkhands should definitely be making Hypaspists at this moment, but he hasn't quite worked out what Squash is building. As we do see the docks getting taken out on this position here. So the Dwarven Armor is coming up. Settlement going to be getting finished up there as well. And we'll see how Darkhands can bring himself back here. Now, this map is one of those maps where really you need to be getting yourself onto the map and preventing gold from getting grabbed here as fast as you possibly can. We do see all these dwarves coming over here. Squash is still not in the second age. He's getting himself a third town center as the villagers getting harassed over here. This could get caught out pretty badly here as Squash gets himself some more longhouses out. He could also make a move over and try and grab this town center there as well. As the Hydras, I mean, if they can pick off some villagers, get some heads here, they will be able to take out that town center very, very quickly. They do have 10 crush, and that gets multiplied by 100% every single time he gets another head. So on top of the extra 20 damage he gets an extra 10 crush every single head. So these Hydras do a lot of damage. But this raids is starting to hurt Squash in a big way here. One down, another one down. Look at that damage there as another villager going down. Still only 3 heads here on those Hydras. But the Hersa, they are coming back in. And now Darkhands has to retreat away. So the villagers are going to be making their way onto this town center here. Squash still not in the next age. A big counter to the Hydras is getting Scardy in. Getting those frost giants out. In order to do things there. As the fishing ships are all up, the docks are all cleaned up over here. And Darkhands is in a good spot there. But he does leave those docks alive for a little bit. So there is potential for a whole bunch of ramming ships to come through and get a lot of good damage done. But Darkhands on the retreat. He still needs to get himself out those Hypaspists at this point. And there we go. Now getting Hypaspists. Those will be able to deal with the Hersa very, very quickly. It makes it really challenging. In fact, there is an idea against Norse of like Hypaspist Hydra, which is decent because the Hydra are going to be able to kill off both the Thrown Axemen and the Raiding Cavalry, where the Hypaspists kill off those Hersa. But you have to micro it nicely as Squash barely catches this town center here. But with some of those Hypaspists here, these infantry units will go down very, very quickly. Good micro here from Squash to pull back ever so slightly, trying to take out the military academy. But we will be seeing the town center finishing up here, it seems. And Squash needs to retreat as this game is going to venture forth into the mid game. It's still relatively close here. Squash does have the advantage, but it's still a dangerous time to be a Norse player. Whenever you're playing against Zeus, he's a scary god, and if he gets the upper hand at any point, you're in a big trouble. As we see Hera coming through here, this is scary. Darkhands getting Hera this early as Skadi is coming through. The lightning storm is going to come down. All of these units are going to get picked off, and Darkhands is going to be able to make some big amounts of damage. He's got to click that lightning storm. What are you waiting for? Use the lightning storm, kill off all the units. That's why this has been the option here. As Frost comes down, lightning storm gets clicked. The units will be retreating away, but there's no retreating from the lightning storm in all reality, as everything basically gets cleaned up. The max damage does get hit there. So Darkhands has avoided the frost. Squash, he's down on that on the military numbers as well now, and he is going to be struggling for resources. He does have 3 town centers though, but the Medusa is now out to deal with that Frost Giant. Darkhand's not paying attention here. He misclicks the Medusa as well. That's huge. And the Medusa gets frozen in place. What a blunder there from Darkhands. Squash gets away with it. He should have at least lost 1 Frost Giant there. And potentially the Medusa should have been kept alive. As Darkhand's moving in to grab that fortress there, he will be needing that Bellerophon out as soon as he possibly can here. It looks like he's not grabbing it though, and he's only got the one hero, not Jason, one Odysseus out as the Frost Giants move forward. There's the bronze coming in as one Hydra gets frozen. The next Hydra going to get frozen as well here. Can Darkhands win this fight or not is the big question. Thank you for the prime there, Kevin Conde. Not sure how to say it. Appreciate you, my friend. As now we see Jason into the fight. Still no Bellerophon here. This is the big ticket unit which wins these fights in a big way. As Darkhands can start moving in to grab this gold mine as well. Very shortly. As the Thor and Axeman getting pushed back. And Darkhands is slowly starting to find some advantage here. But you have to remember, Squash has been 3 town centers for a long time. He's got a lot of villages. This army that Squash has got is small only because he's got so much economy behind him. What does this mean? This means Ragnarok is going to be gigantic in this game. And Darkhands needs to be thinking about how to defend the Ragnarok that's going to be coming for him. Very shortly here. So we'll see how it's all going to go. As the village is getting taken down on this gold mine. Darkhand's probably a little bit overzealous being on this gold mine when he's got safe gold, and even remotely safe gold here as well. So he doesn't really need to be over here. And he is short on that gold, to be sure. But is he getting that Bellerophon out? Still no Bellerophon. This is, I keep on saying it, but it's the big ticket unit. It costs 400 gold, but the value you get out of it against pretty much any civ, but in particular, an army composition that doesn't have a whole lot of melee units, hand melee units. Like, you just get, there it goes. You just get the Bellerophon out and everything gets really difficult for your opponent very shortly. But Squash here, I mean, does he have these upgrades as well? He does. He doesn't have Plow, but he's got himself the farming upgrade Winter Harvest there for the 20% boost. He's definitely going to have to think about those extra upgrades very soon. He's got himself the market, starting the trade route. So Squash is planning a Ragnarok here. You know he's planning the Ragnarok as the Bellerophon coming through. So if that is the case, if you can read this from Darkhands, how do you defend against this? Well, you've got to start getting your own trade route up. Your walls need to start coming down. Your towers need to start coming down. But even then, I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to defend this one as the Bellerophon jumps in. The Frost Giants do dodge on that one there. You can dodge the Bellerophon jump ability with some good micro. As Bellerophon retreats back, going to be coming back in as well with that special ability. Bam! And then if you hit the jump ability though, huge amounts of damage as the Frost Giant does get taken down. Squash, he's now up through Balder. He is still missing the fortified town centers as his Drakkar come through. What is this market from Darkhands? This is a sneaky market, but it gets spotted. Imagine a trade route down that bottom side of the map there. Another Frost Giant going down. And Squash, he is struggling to win these fights because he doesn't have that much population, but he does have a whole bunch of armory upgrades here coming. As the Bellerophon going to be retreating back. Military Academy is going down. Darkhands, on the other hand, he's gone through Hera. He's got 0 economy in terms of ability to get himself armory upgrades. So his army, while strong in numbers at the moment, is very, very weak in terms of actual raw power. So he needs to start getting those upgrades. Now he's got some resources there, but he gets himself the fortified town centers. Nope, he's getting something else here. I'm not sure what he's going for. Armory upgrades still not coming in, as the economy is starting to get a little bit more floaty here for Darkhands. But look at Squash. Balder just about to click his 160 pop. He doesn't have any rams out. He doesn't have himself a hill fort at the moment. I do think it's worthwhile to just take one unit and build a hill fort in the back here, just so you can make yourself some siege at any point. You don't have to have it in an offensive position. It's just such an important building to have. But Squash is winning these fights at the moment. Does he have himself the axe upgrade? No, what's it called? I want to say Thunderous Axe? Huntress Axe. No Huntress Axe there for Squash just yet. But he's now in the Mythic Age. He's got the Ragnarok. We do see some towers coming up. At the moment, Squash doesn't want to click Rag, it seems, straight away. He's still getting himself armory upgrades here. Darkhands is getting himself the fortified town center. He does have the trade route started, but there's a thrown axeman over here. He's going to have to move over onto this spot, it seems. Squash could do the same and put a market over here, but it would start moving straight through this fight, I guess. So it's probably not the best of ideas. As now we see some Myrmidon coming through here in an attempt for Darkhands to deal with the entirety of the army here that Squash is making. But Squash here is still producing villagers. I think he's at 80 gatherers here, and now he's only making dwarves at the moment, still getting himself those armory upgrades here. He's getting that iron mail through very, very quickly at the moment, as the Odysseus is getting targeted down on this spot here from the Fire Giant on the back there. Throwing Axeman going to be attempting to take down some units here as well, but now Darkhands on the back. I don't think Heliopolis is the move here at the moment. Just simply on the fact that what are you really going to do with it when the Ragnarok is clicked? Because it's definitely going to be happening here. Is he making them on loop? He is. He is making them on loop. We'll see how it's going to go for Darkhands, as Squash here is now getting himself meteoric iron mail. This guy is getting every upgrade under the sun. Walls coming up as well, just to prevent any sort of pressure after the fact here. And we'll see how things are going to go here for this big Ragnarok, as Squash is building up to it. Unfortunately for Squash, the towers, they're not really all targeting units over here. A couple of them are targeting down a military academy, which is not exactly what you want. He's still building dwarves. He's still building trade caravans. He's going to have, when he clicks Ragnarok, he's going to have 18 fishing ship and probably something like 20 caravans remaining. So he's still going to have an economy of 40 units after the Ragnarok. After the dust settles from the Ragnarok, he's going to have so many resources, just continue pumping units out. In fact, he probably won't even need to rebuild villages at that point, because there's just so much economy already coming through for him, and he's already got himself all of his armory upgrades. He's getting himself that dragon scale shield as well. Does he have the Hammer of the Gods? No Hammer of the Gods, but I'm sure he'll click that very, very shortly here, as he gets himself the champion infantry as well. And I mean, Darkhands at this point is just going, I can't do anything. He's got no military units. He's just got villages here at the moment. There's the Hammer of the Gods getting clicked, and here it comes. Surely he has to click it. Like, what are you waiting for at this point if your name is Squash? One more villager? I mean, I guess he lost a couple of gatherers over here, so why not get a couple more? I think Squash is going to be enjoying this here. He is just really sitting back and just enjoying what is about to happen. As the wall's coming up over here, we do see the Karkanos. Don't see this one very often. This one does a lot of damage when it dies. It's a very little known fact. 300 splash damage there from the Karkanos. And I would wager that 53 villagers on wood is too many, but when they can get turned into rag heroes, maybe not. Darkhands at this point is still struggling to produce stuff. What is happening here? He's going to get himself the Athenian wall tech to help his buildings out, but... Okay, Squash now going to be dumping all of his resources, it seems. And there's the Ragnarok. How much is it? 370 population. I was kind of hoping we would see 400. I thought we might have seen 400 here, but it's just not possible. Is it? If you have 100 villages, that's 300 pop. And then you've got 60 pop. So the max you could possibly get is going to be 360, I guess, unless you've got more town centers. Though you could get like 120 villages, right? 120 economy, 140 economy, then times that by 3. Anyways, Rag Hero is coming. Look at these. 61% hack, 61% pierce, 18.7 DPS with 156 HP. This is insane as the Rag Heroes are just crawling across the map. Squash can also get himself Secrets of the Titans at the moment if he so chooses. As all the villages are going to be getting taken down here, and I don't see any possibility here for Darkhands to defend here. Darkhands is at 102 population. His army, while he does have champion Toxotes, he's got bronze mail. I mean, it's so much weaker than what Squash has got at the moment. We see Bellerophon coming back out in an attempt to hold here or help here as the Squash Rag Hero is going to be pushing straight down into this town center. Darkhands has got himself Masons as well to hold on. But, I mean, there's a lot of idle units here for Squash. When I watch Squash stream, he doesn't actually use the idle military banner. I don't know if he just doesn't know that idle military banner exists, but if you take a look at his perspective here, you can see it shows his settings when you're watching in the recorder game. You can see he's got no idle military here, even though he's got plenty of, well, he's got one idle military unit right now, but it shows no idle military for him. I don't know why he doesn't use it. He doesn't use it, but it does mean he can't shift click onto the units there, as we do see the Secrets of the Titans coming through. One ultimate disrespect he could do at the moment is, well, the ultimate of disrespects would be to just drop a 1 to right in Darkhands' face here, but more disrespect would be to just drop the Titan Gate right here. The Squash going to get himself this town center, go up to 180 pop. He does get cleaned up a little bit on this position here. So Darkhands, I don't know. He hasn't held, so to speak, but he isn't completely wiped off the map just yet. How much gold does he have? He's got 0 gold in the bank, which is the big problem. He's trying to mine gold in the center of the map here as we see a hill fort coming up. Villagers trying to move forward. That one Rag Hero picks these units off so insanely quickly as all the units do fall there. And in that moment there, Darkhands does tap out. GG, well played by Squash. The build-up was insane here. He's just sitting back, waiting, watching, and just saying, you can't do anything to me. You don't have the economy to play ball in this game. I mean, if we take a look at it, this tells the story. Look at how much of an advantage Squash has over Darkhands here. 60,000 to 74,000. And that's just because the civilian unit count is so different here. He had 143 civilian units to 105 here. I mean, surely you have to say that there's got to be an opportunity here for Darkhands to actually get some damage done with his population, because he does have some population there. Maybe the answer here for Darkhands should have been more military and less economy. Because then Squash, who is popping out a small amount of very, very strong military units, just get picked off before they actually get to do anything. If you go 80 villages, for example, and go 80 population, that's 40 units, 42 pop units, you might be able to beat that 30 population army much, much easier than otherwise here. That could be an idea here for Darkhands. But that being said, he was behind from the get-go with his build order. And he did go for something a little bit cute with the forward dock, and he got a little bit punished there from it as Squash too strong in this one. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.